We have spent about 3 weeks, give or take, looking at the different parts that make up the internals of a computer and looking at how it affects everything. So let's go to the part where, which is pretty common. You tell them, "Hey, I'm a programmer." They say, "Fix my computer," or "Hey, what computer do you think I should buy?" So here's what you're going to do. You're going to look at some requirements given by people for what they think they want their computer to do, and you're going to find out the minimum requirements and the recommended requirements, because there's always two. There's always a chance where you can buy something smaller that will do it, maybe not perfectly, but sometimes that's where the price range goes, and something bigger. Next week, we're going to take these same uh, minimum and maximum requirements and see if we can assemble some systems using some online places, and see what it would cost to build these things for these folks. So today we're going to start with a lady named Julia. So she enjoys creating animated cartoons and watching movies. That's what she's into. She really likes it. She'd like a computer that can run Disney Plus. She wants to be able to watch those Disney stuff. And Moho Pro 13, which is an animation um, program that allows them to create cartoons and does really good animations. Because she creates cartoons as her profession, she sells these. She also needs to run QuickBooks Desktop Pro. This is a system that helps people in a business keep track of their expenses and helps fill out their taxes and that stuff. So she's looking at her cartoon is her business. Okay. So we're going to use this table, and it's going to list our minimum and our recommended system requirements. It's going to do too. And as we go through these and you go through them, I'm going to tell you that sometimes these are going to be a little the phrase is loosey goosey. Some of these you're going to see. I'm going to give you pages with system requirements, but you're not going to like them. Can you go to other websites and find system requirements? Yes. Sometimes what you see is not the greatest. So I've given you ones that are pretty good. Are they the best? No, but we can go through. So I did hyperlink everything. So let's look at what we're doing here. We've got a couple things. We've got a minimum column and a recommended column. We're talking about operating system. We are only building PCs this week. Um, I thought about Macs. It's they run very similar, but it's a very limited amount where you're purchasing in there, and it actually is easier to build a Mac simply because there's not as many options to do that. But I think if you know the PC, then you can apply it to the Mac too. So we'll just leave it alone. So CPU, what kind of computer processor do they need? RAM, how much RAM do they need? Mass storage space, and we're looking at that minimum amount. Each of these programs will have a minimum requirement, and I'm not even including the operating system stuff. I'm just looking at the program requirements because it gives us a good idea. Graphics cards, video cards. Um, Not everything's going to need great graphics. If you look at hers, she does like to watch Disney Plus, so that's probably her biggest graphic draw, except for the fact that she's making cartoons. So she's going to want to see exactly everything. Sound cards. Sound cards aren't necessary in all applications. You'll see one of your cases is a girl who likes to make music and she likes to record it. So she's definitely going to need a sound card or a sound device. And last, monitor size and resolution. I apologize for the noise in the background. It is my Roomba running around on its own. If it comes close, I'll turn it off. So let's look first. Let's look at how to build these. Uh, as we go, we're going to build the minimum system requirements and the recommended. We're going to start with the first program on the list, which is the Disney Plus. I'm going to go there, and I'm actually going to do something different. I'm going to copy the link and put it over here simply because I'm trying to keep this split screen so you can see everything out. So here's the Disney Plus, and they say, what's the minimum requirements for the Disney universe on a PC? So they got here. So the minimum requirements is Windows 7. Now here's the thing: January 14th to 2020, Windows stopped supporting version 7. So would I recommend Windows 7 to anybody? No. Now the next Windows version up is Windows 8. So if you find yourself writing Windows 7, you have a problem simply because there is no Windows 7. Well, you can get it, it's stuck on things, but you can't purchase it anymore. And why would you if it's not supported? All right, it says you need a 3 gigahertz Intel Premium Class or AMD Athlon. Now, I'm going to put this down here. I will tell you what they've written here is really long. First thing I'm gonna do is get rid of some of these trademarks and all that other cool stuff. I know they have to have it for their website, but it just blogs it up for me. So I got rid of all that. We're gonna have to do some work on this one. Ooh, didn't bring over 3.0. We're gonna have to do some work on this one because the way they wrote it, you're gonna find is not the best way. But we're just gonna put it down there for right now. 2 GB of RAM. So 2 GB of RAM. It says 4 GB of free hard drive. Now our mass storage, that's our hard drive space. So 4.0 GB. As we go and we look at each program, this number is going to keep rising. So this is just simple math adding up. Next says they need a 256 megabyte 3D video card supporting shaders for both. And then they list a video card. They've got 2 of them here. I'm not worried about the or higher. They got some other notes down there. We'll see that doesn't matter. So I'm going to put down here, and again, I'm going to clear out the trademark and stuff because I don't care. Hold on while I pause a moment. For you, it's not. Okay. So the next thing is the sound card. Now it says 16-bit DirectX compatible sound card. So we're going to put that in there. Again, that's not super helpful to us, but it lets us know. It says DVD-ROMs. We didn't include that. And monitor resolution. It doesn't really include a minimum monitor resolution, so we're good there. Now, they just had one system requirements. They didn't have a recommended. They just had the minimum. So we'll just leave that alone. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the Moho Pro 13. Now, each one of these, you'll notice what I'm doing is I'm looking up the requirements and comparing them. So here's Moho Pro 13, kind of an interesting thing if you're into cartooning and stuff. It's a good way to do that. And it's not terrible. It's $400, but that's pretty common. So then they got some system requirements. So it says Moho Pro 13 system requirements. Windows 10 is recommended. Oh, good. Doesn't say if that's the minute. It runs under a list, but it's a recommended. That's kind of nice for us. It needs a 64-bit operating system. So both of these are 64-bit, although we can type it. Excuse me. When you're doing these, don't worry if your wording is perfect. I'm not grading you on that. I'm going to grade you on covering that minimum and to do a little research, which we're going to do in a bit here. So it says for the requirements, 2.0 gigahertz Intel Core i3 or higher. Well, over here it's got 3 gigahertz, but it's got an Intel Pentium Pro 4. The Core 3 is the newer set. So we're going to go ahead and change that from the Intel Pentium to the Intel Core 3. Okay. It needs 4 gigabytes of RAM. Well, down here it said it needed 2, but obviously with the addition of this, we need 4. Okay. 1.6 gigabytes of free hard disk space. So we're going to add in 1.6 to our 4.0, which gives us 5.6 gigabytes so far. Needs OpenGL. That comes with the graphics card. It says, here's go the screen size. It's a recommended, so we're going to stick it over here on recommended. So 1920 by 1080, obviously you can run it on less, and it'll let you do that, but that's what they recommend. All right, so that covers that one, which is pretty nice for us, right? Let's go to the last thing. She wants to run QuickBooks Pro 2019. So I'm going to copy that link. Here's our QuickBooks Pro requirements. This is a little more geeky. It says operating systems. I click here. It says Windows 10, Windows 8.1. It'll do it. So it's saying not Windows 8, but for the minimum, you're going to need 8.1. So that does change this a little bit. Become 8.1 now. And it talks about all the different ones. Database servers, we don't care. We're not operating a server setup. Browser, we're not worried about that. Hardware and operating systems, that's really what we care about. So it says 2.4 gigahertz minimum processor. Right now we have a 3 gigahertz minimum processor. That seems fine. 4 gigabytes minimum, 8 gigabytes recommended. We do have 4 gigabytes, so but we have a recommended side now, so 8 gigabytes. And then it talks about if you got servers, we don't care. It says 2.5 gigabytes of disk space, so we have to add 2.5 to our number, which gives us to 8.1 gigabytes. Um, Talks about versions of Windows, optical drive, we don't care. Display, it says 1280 or 1024. So that's our minimum there. And we've pretty much got that one set up. So we've got a little more work to do here. We have now have the minimums and the recommendeds. We could, since we've got this, we don't have to have anything above this. And I'm not going to. I don't want you to fill in if there's no recommended up. Then we'll just go with this. I think I pasted something in here without color. That's my fault. Where's my Texas button? Thanks. Okay. So let's go look up some stuff. The Windows is fine. We left alone. Now, when it comes to CPUs, you'll notice there's some links over here. You're going to have to do some work. I'm going to go into my CPU link. So here is a list of all processors, and it talks about benchmarks and how good they are. So it gets up really high. The Core i9 9000. Now, if that first number, when you see Intel Core systems, this first number is the generation. So this is 9th generation. This is 8th generation. If you go down here, no, that's Ryzen. Here's one, 8th. We got to go way down because they get weaker. There's one 5th generation i7 5950. So that'll give you an idea where that. So we want a 3 gigahertz Core i3 or an AMD Athlon. So let's go. We're going to record a couple things. When it comes to these systems, what I want you to record after them is the gigahertz and the number of cores. So gigahertz, number of cores. I already know I'm looking for a 3 gigahertz i3. So what I'm going to go over here is, because I want the minimum, I'm going to scroll all the way to the bottom. I'm going to be using the search function in this file. I'm going to scroll all the way to the bottom here where we get some really, really old systems down here. We're way past that. And I'm going to highlight something, so I'm down here. I'm going to hit Control F, which allows me to find, and I'm going to type in i3. So i3. And then I'm going to work my way up from there. Here's a Core i3, the very first one, 3rd generation. It says 2.1. I need at least 3 gigs, so I'm going up. There's a Core i3 1.8 gigahertz. That's definitely not enough. I want 3. There's one 2.3. I'm still in 3rd generation. It's pretty slow. 2.4. I'm getting a little faster. There's an i3 1.5. An i3 1.9. i3 of 2.5. i3 of 2.5. i3 of 2.2. i3 of 1.7. An i3 at 1.7 again, and a 2.2. Here's an i3 of 2.3, or 2.7, then a 2.3. Don't know where it went now. 1.9, I'm still going up. 2.9, i3 2.4, I'm getting closer, we're getting faster. Generally, 2.2, 2.0, we dropped down a little bit there. There we go. 3, there's our very first, the lowest minimum we can get, this 3.1 gigahertz Intel Core and I'm going to copy that. So I'm going to put over here Intel Core. I'm going to replace this with an actual system, and I do want you to look things up, some of this. So this is a 3.1 gigahertz running 2 cores. I'm going to look up this Athlon 64 3500, probably the easiest. 3500. AMD A6. The A stands for Athlon 6 3500. And I'm going to go up from there because we're still at the 2 gigahertz range. Ryzen, we're way up there. Yeah, we left the core. So somewhere, they didn't list this very well in the 64 3500. I think what they meant was this guy right here, the AMD A6 3500. So we're going to go with that. It's not perfect as far as I'm concerned, but we'll go with that. It's a little slower than the other one. And it has 2.1 gigahertz. And 3 cores. Honestly, I generally buy Intel products. All right, so let's go look at graphic cards. We've done our CPU. We didn't have 2. That was kind of nice. RAM doesn't require anything. Mass storage, we just need to know it. So we're going to go look at graphics cards. All right, so it says GeForce 8400 and ATI Radeon 29. I happen to know something. Whoever wrote this had some problems because GeForce runs at A40. So we're going to type GeForce 840. Go here. I'm going to use my Control F function again. And there it is, GeForce 840. And all I wanted you to do here, this is a big listing, and it runs a pretty good gamut of the graphics cards that are out in the market and their popularity. So it's pretty good. I just want you to list the rating for it. That lets me know. And I happen to know that there's no 8. I don't know why they did that, but it's common for people to list something. So this is number 172. It's way down there. And I'm going to get rid of the or higher. But they listed another one, a Radeon 2900. Again, it's 290. Don't know why they added the extra. Let's go just with 290. There we go. There it is, the Radeon R9 290X. Is there one below that? There is just the R290. The R in front of that simply means Radeon. It's one of those weird things they do. So this one is 76. So if I was definitely buying, I would definitely go the upper and not the lower because it's down there. All right. That deals with us looking at sound cards. Again, people writing these articles a lot of times will write fast and nobody checks them. So this is one of those cases where they got zeros in. You saw what CPUs had. Let's do the last. We'll do the sound card. Let's look at sound cards. This is one of those where when you get to the other young lady, her sound card is actually going to be music inspired. So there will be a different link on that one. It'll come up for you anyway. So I'm going to copy my links, put it over here. Enter. So these are some sound cards. These are some of the better ones. And you can go look. Sound Blaster Z, that is ultimate quality. She doesn't really need ultimate quality, but she does need decent if she's making cartoons. Here is Acer Zonar. Asus makes good sound cards. That one is a little hefty. She just needs something that can do DirectX 9, and they all can. So when you're looking at, kind of look at the price, there's Omni Blaster. This is a good one here. And you're probably well due here. Portable sound card. So we're going to go with the Creative Sound Blast Audiology RX. And this is more, sound cards are more justify. She didn't look like she needed a lot, so it's going to be a little more justification on your part. This is all you got to do. You write minimums and maximums, a little bit of research on the CPUs and the graphic cards. As far as the sound card goes, you're going to have to make some choices. Thank you.